Raf Manji is standing beside me here. If you are listening, we are live from the wall in Christchurch, the Memorial Wall. Raf Manji is the City Councillor and also the head of the Finance and Performance Committee for the Council. Raf, let's talk briefly about today. It was lovely, wasn't it?
It was a beautiful day. I mean, it is a day of remembrance, but also a day of celebration. And a number of the families that I spoke to actually were celebrating rather than commiserating, and they were just really so happy with the way the wall has turned out. I mean, a project like this can be controversial, but everybody I've spoken to just loves it. And I think it will be a real place for people to actually come and, you know, feel like they're part of it and remember what happened, but also look forward.
Right, not only was there a great loss of life, 185 lives lost, but Christchurch lost a lot of what made it Christchurch, certainly in terms of infrastructure, buildings, the city, the CBD, that kind of thing. 6 years on, how is our second largest city going in the business of looking like our second largest city again?
Yeah, we're good. We're good, actually. Talking of the infrastructure, the SCIRT program is just about to come to an end. It was supposed to finish in September 2016. We'll finish at the end of March of this year. So basically most of the big infrastructure projects have been completed and completed well. There is going to be a long tail of infrastructure issues going forward, which we will just have to bear. So that's going well. The community rebuilding project process is going really well. All, you know, community centres, libraries, the stuff that people really live in and day out, that's going really smoothly. We have the town hall is almost halfway through. The library is up and running. So actually we're in pretty good shape. Most of the insurance matters have been settled, though there will be a very difficult long tail, and I spoke with the chair of EQC today about that, so they're working hard on that process. So all in all, things are looking up. When you come into the central city, the retail precinct is looking fantastic. You know, the new crossing development is going to be completed this year. The terraces will be completed. We do have a few issues. I mean, obviously the cathedral continues to be a festering sore, and the people just, there's nothing we can do about it, but it's a great frustration to all. And of course we've got some very big holes still in the city with the convention centre.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
What's happening with the convention centre?
Well, as far as I know, they are going out for a design and build contract sometime this year. So that's good news. The Metro Sports is underway. I mean, we've spoken about the convention centre before. It's a very big footprint in a key area of the city, so they've got to get it right. And there are a lot of questions still around that.
It felt declaratory and it felt important at the time. It felt like a vote of faith in the future and a foot-stamping exercise to say this is what we can do. This is how big it can be. Does it now, after 6 years of taking stock and looking around, feel at odds with the rest of what's happening?
Yeah, it does. If you look at the successful projects, they've generally been a finer grain, a little bit smaller. And there's no doubt if we were contemplating a convention centre now, you wouldn't be putting it there. It's the prime residential land in the city, right beside the river. You'd be putting it probably over where the stadium is. Now, whether it's too late for that, I don't know. But I think they're going to struggle to fit it in on that footprint, and it will take up a huge amount of space.
Isn't it about getting it right? So much was lost, and Christchurch has the opportunity. It didn't ask for it. It didn't want it. To start again. Isn't it important, given the cost of that opportunity, to get it right now?
Absolutely. And again, I think probably the first interview we did in 2014, I think I talked about always reviewing plans. You always review a plan as you go along. And I think one of the problems with the blueprint is that it's just being persevered with, even when perhaps it might be a case of, actually, this is all happening. Maybe we don't need to do as much. When you look at the south frame, you look at the east frame, big chunks of compulsory acquisition, big chunks of spare land where nothing is happening at the moment. So the residential piece is also behind. So when you look at the big holes in the city, they're from those big anchor projects. And of course a lot of that was about confidence. Well, the confidence is here. The stuff that is coming in the central city is fantastic.
Can we talk about the psychological confidence of the people here who have been, I mean, everyone says resilient. You must be sick to death of hearing that bloody word in Christchurch. But was that dented by the Port Hill fires that began last Monday? Was that just a blow to the psyche of the city, or are people in good stock?
I think actually people handled that pretty well. I mean, if you look at it, we've had the earthquakes, we've had floods, we've had fires, and we're still standing and we're still going. And I think the way people reacted, I think, was borne out in the amount of people who ended up at welfare systems in the welfare centres, there was about 11 people, because everyone just went to friends and family. So that really told me something, that actually people had networks that they could, lock into, and that people could help them and get through it. So it was a bit of a shock, but I think actually in terms of the psyche, actually we're kind of getting used to that. So that's where the resilience piece comes in, but it still affects people. Anyone who's lost their house, anyone who's had their house affected by smoke, of course they're going to be impacted. But the city largely has learned to live with this, and actually New Zealand will have to learn to live with that, as will other people around the world.
Raf Manji, City Councillor and Head of the Finance and Performance Committee, thank you so much, Raf. Nice to have you down here this evening.